a great place to get your family saving. And proud sponsor of the zoo. Acres of Dublin's Phoenix Park. Over 1 million visitors a year. 600 exotic animals. 22 dedicated keepers. Welcome to the zoo. This week, a new mate for Kira the snow leopard, Ireland's most elusive native amphibian, and Cassie the baby mangabey branches out. Snow leopards are an endangered species in the wild. For some time now, the zoo has been hoping that its own breeding pair, Tito and Kira, would produce offspring. Last summer, Kira finally became pregnant. Operations manager Jerry was especially thrilled, and when the birth finally happened, he was there to see it.
And I just come in to watch the cameras, and I'm really finding it hard to contain my excitement. The first cub has just left the birth canal. You can see the intensity of the mother, the attention to detail that she's paying to her cub. What I'm witnessing so far is a textbook birth. The mother is so relaxed. She's licking her cubs, she's cleaning them off, she's doing everything perfectly. And here's the second cub who's just arrived. I mean, this is fantastic footage. Like one of the rarest cats in the world, and now we're witnessing the birth. 2 strong, healthy cubs, fingers crossed, possibly another one on the way.
Sadly, though a third cub was born, none of the litter survived.
Unfortunately, last night we had an absolutely devastating setback. The remaining cub deteriorated quite drastically overnight, and she became very weak. Despite our best efforts to revive it and get some food and keep it warm, it just didn't make it. It's one of the real hard parts of working with animals. You think everything is fine, and then you're just knocked for 6 with something like this.
Nine months on, the snow leopards are once again a top priority for Jerry.
Well, I mean, the last year or so has been a real tragedy with our snow leopards. You know, we have had the loss of the cubs, which was a major setback. And then last year, we lost the whole breeding season. Although Tita, our resident male, was mating with the female, she didn't actually conceive. Time is running out for Kira. I mean, she is getting on now, and we really need to get back on track with our snow leopard breeding program. Snow leopards have been on the endangered list since 1972. You know, they're facing many threats within their natural habitat. They're still used for their pelts. This is a pelt that we actually have here from one of our snow leopards here in the zoo that died, and we use this for a biofact. But I mean, you know, the average income of a family in Mongolia and Tibet is about $200 per annum. This skin from a snow leopard will get you $50. So you realise the challenge is trying to educate the people to stop killing snow leopards. Dublin Zoo is working remarkably hard with an organisation called the Snow Leopard Trust. And what we do is, these are pictures that are taken of wild snow leopards using camera traps that Dublin Zoo has helped support. We in fact even have satellite images that we can check in, and we can look at the cats that we have radio tracked, see what their home ranges are, see where they're coming into conflict with herders. This is the biggest problem. This land where people have to feed their livestock, that displaces the natural prey of the snow leopard. The snow leopard comes into conflict with the human kills the snow leopard, and he gets rewarded by selling the pelt. We've got to change the mindset. This is what Dublin Zoo's role is: work here in the zoo and support us in the field. Under the recommendation of the International Stud Bookkeeper, we've taken in a male from the UK, Wutai. He's a proven male, he has bred before, so let's hope that this is a success, and we go and check and see what's happening. Everything okay, yeah? Safe travelling? Okay, well, let's go up to the house and get this cat unloaded. Thanks.
Out by the Royal Canal in West Dublin, keeper Garth and Kieran from the Irish Wildlife Trust are on the lookout for an elusive native Irish species.
It's been great just to come out and, you know, see something different to start with. As a reptile and amphibian lover especially, you know, it's great to actually see some native fauna. To have someone like Kieran kind of show you what there is out there and what we're missing, you know.
This project, this Irish Watertrust Smooth Meat Survey, what it's all about is trying to get an idea of the distribution of this species in the Irish landscape. So anyone who's interested, they get in touch with us and we teach people how to survey for newts. Dublin Zoo have been very helpful in that. They've funded the project. We have Garth, one of the keepers, out here today sort of giving a hand and just kind of having a look and seeing what's going on with the project.
So Kieran, what are the most successful techniques now to actually catch these little guys?
There's basically two techniques. Unlike frogs that, you know, will spawn everywhere, the newts, they lay each egg individually on a piece of vegetation. So we get our surveyors to come to their site and they split the bank up into sections and they'll look through the vegetation that is just sort of below the water. Yeah. They'll take it out and, you know, do an example here. No, I can just use my hand. Oh, okay. So, you know, you would take out a piece of vegetation and you would examine underneath the leaves. The eggs, they're about 3 millimeters across. So you do kind of need to have a good look at the plant. The second technique is called torching. So you come to the site with a good, strong, high-powered torch. And again, similar to the egg searching, you sort of split the bank up into sections. And then you get your strong torch and you shine the beam out into the water. At night time when you do this, you actually get a really clear view of what's in the water because newts are nocturnal and the time that they're most active is just a little bit after nightfall. Firstly, because they're nocturnal, and secondly, because you see so much clearer with the torch at night. It's the most successful way of surveying for newts.
Back at the zoo, the recently arrived male snow leopard is about to be transferred to his new home.
So it's kind of a last chance situation for us because our own female is getting to 12 years old, which is coming towards the end of her reproductive years. And also this guy is an old capri. He has done the business before and genetically he's very important for breeding. Push in. So we need to get them together, get them focused, get them introduced. Hopefully, you know, we'll see the results of this international cooperation. As you see, he was unloaded really quickly and very peacefully. He's been to a couple of zoos on his breeding loan, so he knew the routine. In the box, walked out. He looks in magnificent condition. He's a beautiful, beautiful animal. He's obviously a cat that's been around the block, as they say. Looking at him there, his right ear actually is a little bit shorter than the other, so he's obviously had some sort of conflict at some stage with maybe another male or an over anxious female, but he's overall, for his age, his condition is beautiful. The introduction process has started straight away. The female was sleeping in this dead area last night, so her scents and smells are already in there, so you can see where he's actually sniffing and licking the areas that she has scent marked. So immediately now he knows there's a resident female in the area. His introduction has started, his education has started, and hopefully, you know, this will help repay for the really sad losses we had with the cubs.
Recently, to the delight of the keepers, 2 white-crowned mangabey monkeys were born at the zoo. But when one of the new arrivals was accidentally injured, team leader Helen was obliged to step in as surrogate mother. Since then, she and her keepers have been hand-rearing the tiny monkey, who they've named Cassie. Along with constant care and feeding, Helen has been overseeing Cassie's gradual reintroduction to Mangabey Island. Having set up a creche facility adjacent to the Mangabey's indoor quarters, regular social and physical contact between the baby and the rest of her family has been maintained. And it's begun to pay off.
You can see for yourself she's coming on amazing. She's eating, which is great. In the past, like when we were offering her bits of fruit, she'd taste it, you know, which is fair enough, put it in her mouth and then spit it back out. Whereas now she's actually taking big chunks of the fruit and working away in it. She's going through a huge range of stuff, you know, carrot, banana, plum. She's eating bits of willow as well. So it's going really nicely. You can see now she's just running from one to another here at the moment, but when she's actually over in the house, she's moving around the whole area now, going up and down the mesh, making lots of contact with the others next door, which is exactly what we were hoping for. It's really looking great, and there's lots of touching, no sign of aggression at all. Again, what we were really hoping for. So it's all looking really positive towards the final introduction. She'll still continue to hold the little bit of cloth for comfort and security. Again, she really only looks for that when she wants to go to sleep, or if something has disturbed her, she'll come running back and hold on to that. So, which is fine, that's exactly the way we want it, and then eventually she'll be weaned off that as well. We found that mangabeys aren't generally good first-time mothers, and that's not just in Dublin Zoo, it's been found within zoos all over that keep them. So on that basis, we've seen a number of first-time mothers losing their first babies. We don't know for sure why it was that Tima ended up losing her baby. We have a couple of theories. Possibly the strongest one is that Achimoto, the adolescent female, took it from Tima, and that Tima, being a low-ranking female, didn't have the necessary aggression to take it back. If we hadn't managed to get the baby away, she would have died. It's as simple as that, because without the vital nurturing at an early stage, needless to say she had to feed, she would have stood no chance whatsoever. We do have some experience from other zoos to go on. A couple of zoos have managed to do this in the past, and we've used their notes as to how we're going to follow the right routine, because it has to be with the basis of putting her in at a very early stage for socialisation. The socialisation for a group monkey is vital, for their future ranking within a group. They have to be able to behave properly, and in order to do that, they have to see it from an early age. They can't learn it, when they're a couple of months old. They must see it from a very early stage. So that's why it's been very important for Cassie to be over in the Mangabey house.
On the other side of the zoo, Jerry and Kieran are about to oversee another introduction.
The plan today is to introduce Wutai, the new male snow leopard that we took over from the UK, into our female Kira. Introductions are dangerous with carnivores, and there can be lots of attitude, and particularly with a cat like a snow leopard, which is essentially a solitary cat. Lions, for example, have this overriding urge to be sociable, and introductions can be a lot easier. Now, we are expecting a bit of fur flying, because they will have to understand the dominance and who's the stronger personality. But up to this point, we've been watching them closely. Body language is good. Position is good. They're showing the right attitudes towards one another. There is an overwhelming curiosity. So now it looks like now is the time to do it. And we've done many introductions before, but you can never predict fully what's going to happen.
These cats within the EEP are very, very high-ranking cats. And what we mean by that is, some of the cats that would be in zoos would be non-breeders, be low-ranking cats, but he's already fathered cubs, and Kira has had 2 litters of cubs. So, fingers crossed, everything is there for both of them to breed. Again, you've got the apprehension, and you've got the little bit of, nerves this morning, but, this is what zookeeping's about, and, getting these cats together, these leopards together. Hopefully co-ops another success for Dublin Zoo and the conservation, and that is what we're all about, is conservation here at Dublin Zoo.
We're under a little bit of pressure, because if we miss the window of opportunity this year, she may not go again till next year, come into Easter's, and it could be simply too late then. So this is a real last chance saloon really, and we hope it works out well. There's a lot of pressure and a lot of importance and a lot of significance on this introduction.
Out by the Royal Canal, Garth and Kieran have been exploring the shallows for about half an hour.
No, we got one, I think.
Oh, excellent.
I think we got one down here in the bottom. We'll just check it.
Saw something wiggling in there.
Yeah.
Brilliant. Look at that. Stunning. That'd be a little male now.
Yeah, you can tell it's a male because of the colours of its. One way of telling is the colours on its belly.
Right.
See that red there?
Look at that, yeah, beautiful.
And the spots, both the male and the female, they have little black spots all over their body, but During the breeding season, the male spots get much bigger.
Right.
You can see there kind of patterning along its side.
Yeah, they're very large.
Newts are a species of amphibians. They're similar to frogs in that they spend part of their life living in the water, and they'll spend the other part of their life living on the land. As you can see, there's some major differences between the frog. The newt is belonged to an amphibian family that has a tail. You can see its tail there, almost the length of its body. This is almost fully grown, so they don't get much bigger than this. They're about 10 to 11 centimeters normally. Newts are carnivorous creatures, so they would eat insects and small invertebrates, so anything that can fit in their mouth, really. They're ferocious little guys. They hatch eggs that are just about the size of a tomato seed, and when those eggs hatch out, there'll be a newt tadpole. So they'll spend a few months in the water, and then somewhere towards the autumn, they just change their form and they'll change into a miniature adult, and then they'll crawl out of the water and they'll spend time go around catching insects and kind of living in the grass until the breeding season starts again in springtime, when it will come back to a wetland like this.
And how is it looking so far? Yeah. Whether they're declining?
Well, at this point in time, we wouldn't be able to say whether they're declining or not, because right now we have the surveyors out in the field surveying all over Ireland. And what they're doing is they're resurveying sites that were surveyed before in the mid-90s.
Oh, yes.
Over the last 2 decades. There was a lot of development around, so a lot of wetlands like this one would have been drained to make way for possibly, new motorways, and also all the new housing and residential developments that were carried out over that period. We're going to see if species like the newt have suffered from any of that wetland habitat loss.
Newts are something absolutely unique to me from where I've come from anyway. South Africa, we don't have anything like them. It looks almost halfway between a lizard and a frog, this tailed amphibian with 4 legs, bizarre looking thing, but absolutely fascinating. It's been great just to see the good work that Kieran and the Irish Wildlife Trust are doing to conserve these little newts, see where our sponsorship is going. We're an Irish zoo, obviously. It's pertinent that we be involved directly with protecting Irish fauna that is under threat, we know that, and we need to make a concerted effort to conserve it. Absolutely looking forward to grabbing a torch and getting out there into the field, doing a little bit of surveying with the zoo crew. I'm out there, you'll see me by the ponds.
Back at the snow leopard habitat, new arrival Wu Tai is keeping a respectful distance.
It's going well. You see, there's 2 different ways you can do introductions with carnivores. You can introduce them in a very small space, and then generally they can set their disagreements or arguments very, very quickly. But with leopards, and they've got such incredible teeth and claws, the risk for injury in a smaller space is greater. So we made a decision collectively with the team that outside would be a better option, that they can see each other from a distance. But because it's a landscape where there's rocks and plants and stuff for them to hide again, it creates a little bit of reassurance that they're not in direct conflict. So far so good. There's a little bit of twitching of the tail, all good signs, so there is a curiosity there. They're both aware that where each other is. They've been looking up and almost stalking each other, but in a very comfortable manner. And he's starting to scent Mark, so that he's certainly comfortable in the environment. So hopefully they will start to reduce their space and come together within a closer proximity.
What we have here, we have our male, White Eye. You can see him rubbing on the log there, And what he's doing is he's scent marking. So he's letting everybody know that this is his domain. He's in charge here. He is the actual male here. It's all part of showing dominance towards the female, but of course towards any other snow leopards, in a wild environment that may be in his region, that this is his territory.
Yeah, what's happening there is the female now. You see, she's re-scenting the areas where the male was, which is very good because in their scent, and it's almost like leaving a note for a male that has come along. He would always know, and she would know levels of aggression, estrogen levels. This can all be read from where they have marked their territory. So this is very good. Like you see, she's just re-scent marking where he was, which is all good. Very good body language. We always wanted around this time of the year, October, November, to introduce them together, because biologically the hormonal changes are creeping into the female, and this time of the year she would normally be starting to leave her territory in the wild and go into other males' territories, and other males will be coming into hers. So it's a time of the year where mate selection and the mate process begins. And these are an animal that's very programmed by seasons, because they come from such a cold climate. So this is the time, like prior to the onslaught of winter, where she would conceive, and then the cubs would be born in early spring to give them the optimum chance of survival in such a harsh environment. So fingers crossed, everything will go. So far, so good. We've done everything possible now to get these animals together, and now it's really up to the leopards, and we can really just hope that, in the very near future we get to see this magnificent species actually mating here again in Dublin Zoo.
The process of socialising Cassie with the Mangabey troupe has been going on for several weeks now. Soon, it'll be time to reunite her with her family.
The progress has been amazing. You can see it every day nearly. Her confidence is growing all the time. She's going higher. She's spending more time over with the others. Really, it's been amazing for us to see it as well. Because, while we see the other babies with their mothers, you're missing a huge part of their progress in the early stages. Basically because they're attached to the mother and they're out in the island a lot. Because she's in here and we're in here, we're seeing all the different stages. But also, like with Malul's baby, who's 4 weeks younger than Cassie here, she's already at that stage because of the fact that she had the confidence of the mother, so while she's making great progress, we'd like to see her running around as much as her 2-week-old cousin. Come check out the gang. Come on, they're all coming in. Come on, there you go. There you go. Yeah. The beginning, of course, they could just watch her without being able to touch or anything. And when we were here, what we used to do was let her climb up in the mesh and make physical contact. And of course, we're at the stage now where we're able to leave her in here and watch her from the window, as opposed to having us in here, which also gives her sort of a security base to go back to. By being outside of the room, they had control of the situation as opposed to us. So it's been a steady progress, from just being able to look at her, to being able to do a little bit of finger contact through the mesh here, to being able to do face-to-face contact, that if they wanted to bite, they could. But of course, we're monitoring it very closely, and if there had been any signs of aggression, we'd have pulled back a little bit and done it slowly again. But there was no signs of aggression. The male Danza was inclined to ignore her a little bit, but that's fine. He's inclined to ignore the other babies that are in there with him. It's looking really promising for an introduction. Seema especially, because she wants to touch her, hold on to her. That would be a sign that she would probably be willing to hold on to her, keep her up close and everything when they actually get introduced together. And that'll be very important for her, because she'll have that security, and that'll take away the need for our little blue blanket. The bond is very strong that we've developed with Cassie. That's to be expected, because you've got an animal that's extremely dependent on you from a very early stage. You're having to do the nursing that a mother would do. You're putting that extra bit of time and attention into her at all times. When it comes to us letting her go, it's going to be difficult, and it's going to be difficult for her as well, because she's gotten attached to us. But at the same time, by allowing her to have Mangabey contact, it's going to ease that final break. Definitely, it's an emotional one. Even I've noticed, when you don't have her for the week at home, because it's been a week on, week off, you really miss the routine that you've developed for that week. And the big thing is going to be that while I'll miss her, being around us all the time, just being able to watch her being a Mangabey is going to just take precedent over that.
Next time on The Zoo, an Indian blackbuck takes her first steps. A closer look at the young macaques, and new arrivals at the red panda habitat.